Hello and very warm welcome to Dr. Ahmed YouTube channel. In the series of recordings that I have been doing on different aspects of the latest 21st century novels, today's short lecture is also based on something like that. In Hanif Muhammad's novel, we have a number of different new changes. Red Birds is the latest novel by him, and in that novel, I today need to discuss with my people, audience, students, and friends how the difference has been carried out with the third word women in comparison to the first word women. So, the topic of today is Mother Dear as a post colonial subject. This video is useful for the students who are preparing for this novel for the sake of research. It's also useful for writing down the character sketch of Mother Dear. It's also useful for the people who would like to research on this novel with reference to the post-colonial women, third word post-colonial women. So with all these references, I would like to provide some type of understanding about the character sketch of Mother Dear. Right now, the word is used here, post-colonial subject. The question is that why the word post-colonial should be used for her. At this moment, I will be talking only in the sense that wherever oppression is going on in any way, their post-colonial subject intervenes. Because if we have the division of the people, on the one hand, the powerful people, and on the other hand, the weak people. On the one hand, the colonizing people, on the other hand, the colonized people. This colonization is not only simply physical colonization, it is relevant to the non-physical or mental colonization as well. So somehow or the other, post-colonial intervenes. Though in the modern 21st century, after 9/11, the word post-colonial has taken many new shapes. For example, it is also called new colonialism. It is also called post-colonialism. It is also termed sometime as new Orientalism as well. Seen in all these aspects, we can see that the Mother Dear's character has been designed in a very specific way, which very clearly highlights the difference between the women which belong to the West or to USA or to Europe or to the northern hemisphere of the world, and the women who belong to this part of the world in which I am sitting right now, South Asia, and Asia as a whole, including Middle East. So in that context, I should be trying to talk about the character of Mother Dear in this video lecture. The very first thing that we should talk about is the idea of post-colonial feminism. We have a very famous, relevant critic and theorist, Mohanty, who has written one book, The Feminism Without Borders. According to her, feminism should have traveled in the same movement, in the same vigor, in the same style from Europe, from West to Asia, but it has not gone so far. The word feminism, the feminist movement, that has reached there, but the fruit of feminism have not reached there in Asia in the same sense. Actually, there is all the time difference that has been carried out in one way or the other between the first word women and the third word women. As soon as the category of third word women comes forward, we immediately begin to feel that here something will be different from as compared to the first word woman. So when a third word woman is analyzed, as her character is analyzed rather, or the narrative about her is analyzed, at that time, number of things come forward where she is still found to be uneducated, still found to be out of work, still found to be living a domestic servant life, still going on to be a good mother, still trying to pose herself to be an ideal woman, and still she is living under the powerful hand of patriarchy, though patriarchy is not that strong these days. But somehow the third world woman is shown to be doing all these things. These were the things which were thought out by the Orientalist studies in Europe as well. And the same thing somehow has been pointed out in the 21st century as well. And in comparison to that, the women who belong to the West, they are different, they are educated, they are highly qualified, they are skilled workers, they are proud of their being, they can work, earn money, they can leave or join a man at their own will. So in that way, number of differences are there. Besides that, this part of the world, which is called South Asia, or even the whole of Asia, has its own problems. Like the things for which the women of West fought for example, right to vote, right to property, and right to education, all these rights were already given by the societies in South Asia, especially. For example, Islamic society, the Indian society, all these people culturally awarded women the right to get education, and Islamic society especially gave the right to possession of the property also, education also, and after that she can do work as well under certain restrictions, and then many other things where the women were given importance. Right to the property was also given to them, and the Indian, or one can say the women of South Asia, got the right to vote even before the Western women could have. So in that way, these rights were there. They are equal to the Western women, but the empowerment of the women, that is still a goal to be achieved in this part of the world. So that is why such character portrayals can be found, which are powerful in their own way, but still they are lacking certain things which are still behind all the Western philosophy of feminism. So that is why post-colonial feminism has its own ideology, has its own way of thinking and narrating, and after that analyzing the things. Because the sisterhood does not establish in that way, which was established among the women of Europe, and that sisterhood is missing here in case of the colored women. By colored women, I may say the women of Asia and then the women of Africa, or any other part of the world where the white women are not present, the colored women are there, and they're bearing, their style, their life, all are very much different from the lives of the white women. So therefore, there is still a burden which is on the shoulder of the white women, because when colonization started, the burden of white men was to rescue the brown women from the clutches of the brown man. But alongside that, some social working was to be carried on by the white women as well, in order to enhance the socio-political and financial status of the women. That was done. Definitely an attempt was made in case of establishing of the schools, and then giving the education, and then the churches or the schools attached to the churches, the hospitals, missionary hospitals. These things were done. But the condition and the status of the women with respect to the political rights, social rights, and financial rights, that is still lacking. It's not there. And especially it is not there when they are compared with the first world women. So that is why post-colonial feminism has its own ideology, has its own standing, and it is relevant though to the feminist movement, but still it carries a different reality as well. So thinking in these terms, we can start our lecture on the character of Mother Dear by thinking that still some anti-feminist agenda is working, and the women of Asia are still struggling against this anti-feminist agenda. With respect to the character of Mother Dear in the novel Redbirds by Muhammad Hanif, we can divide her character into different aspects. For example, her life as a cook at home, her life as a mother, her life as a wife, and the other thing, and then as a soldier as well, and the daughter of her father too. First of all, her life as a cook at home. Definitely, since the time she married her husband, she has been cooking food for him, and then for his guests, then for his sons, and then everybody who came as a guest, she has been cooking for that. Since her youthful time, she has been doing the same thing. When her husband would provide her with some good food material, she would cook the good food, and her food was to be enjoyed by the guests, by the husband, by the people around her, by the sons. Everybody enjoyed her food, and this thing she's doing, even to the level where we enter into the novel she's doing. She's very much expert in her food cooking, and she feels very good and proud also about her style of cooking and providing of the food. And she's whenever inside the kitchen, all the people are looking towards her, that she would come up with something very delicious, and most of the time it happens. So in a way, at her home, she is preparing, cooking food despite the difficulties of having fuel, for example, of having fire, for example, matchboxes, for example, salt, for example, all the other things which are needed for cooking. These sometimes are not available, but still she would manage that. So in a way, she's a traditional mother who would take care of her family by cooking food in any way, whatever the way she can find out, she would do that. And so she's a domestic servant as well. servant who works without money, servant who only claims back some type of love, which sometimes is given to her and sometimes it's not given. Maybe she is ill sometime, maybe she is worried sometime, upset sometime, but still she has to do this type of duty. And that is like an ideal mother in the context of South Asia, as the things are developed like that. So then as a mom, she's a very loving mother because she loves her sons very much. She loves Ellie, who has been handed over, according to her, or according to the narration of the novel. He has been handed over to Americans. He was a very intelligent boy, and he could trace the movement of the aeroplanes which were flying overhead, and could tell to the people where to hit that airplane. So in that way, the intelligence was reflected, and ultimately he was driven by the people of Hangar, the American people, and the father left the son there, and so she misses her son. Her biggest goal of her life is to bring that son, and she loves that son very much, and all the time she tries to convince her husband that somehow or the other he must make arrangements, go to the Hangar and get her son back. So she's a loving mother. Not only she's loving mother towards her son Ali, but also she's loving towards her son Momo. And she takes care of Momo. She helps him sleep also. She provides him food also. She knows when he will be hungry, and she knows whatever the things he needs. In that way, she is all the time taking care of the food of the people like a mother, very good mother. She takes care of not only food, but also of many other articles of life, many other things of life, like washing, like sweeping, like making the people look good and feel good as well. And she's doing all these things not only with her sons, but also with her dog, Mutt. The name is there, immutability Mutt. And in the same way, she's taking care of her husband as well. But with the passage of time, she grows nostalgic and annoying towards her husband, and she though serves him very well, but still she keeps on talking as well, retorting as well, and returns her words as well, because she's mostly angry on the fact that why her son Ellie is not being brought by him, and why these white people have come there, why these Americans are present on her land, and why her husband is obeying them, why he's going behind all the time. And in that way, as a good wife, she proves to be herself as a domestic person. But then she has begun to talk, some type of freedom, some type of agency is lent to her voice, and her voice is there. Though the husband may not be listening to that voice, but subaltern, women as subaltern, she's speaking to her husband at least, and her voice is being raised by her again and again. And then she could also be talked about with respect to the daughter. She mentions during the narrative of the novel that she was the daughter of a rich man, and she looked very beautiful and attractive, and so that is why when her man saw her, he became very much infatuated with her, and that is why the marriage took place, and she left her father's home in order to join her husband. And in that way, she obeyed the tradition of that time, and she was sometime wearing burqa or parda as well, as the husband would wish that, and ultimately she would do everything in order to preserve the honor of her husband. And so in a way, she's a very good wife and very good daughter as well. But then these goodness qualities are being assigned to her in such a way that she has not to use her will, she has to follow the will of her husband, the will of her father as well. But then she is still loving, and she's still doing the things which she wants to do. And here is where the postcolonial feminism intervenes. With the passage of time, she becomes a soldier as well, not the soldier of uniform, but the soldier who attempts to rescue her son, Ali. She prepares her own army, she is herself only, and her son Momo, and Mutt, the dog, and Ali, the pilot of the aeroplane, and Lady Flowerbody and the doctor also follow them. But then she's the brave, courageous person who doesn't bring the father with her, and ultimately enters into Hangar, symbolically speaking, and rescues her son as well, though the son is only in the shape of a ghost. But still, allegorically speaking, she is able to do so whatever she wanted to do. So in that way, she proves herself to be a very good planner, very good successful soldier, and who hits the nail at the right time and is able to achieve the purpose, whatever that person wants to see. So as a soldier also, she's a very successful person. And the problem with her is going on with respect to the salt. The salt was not available for the food, and so the taste of the food was running out very, very swiftly. She wanted her husband to bring the salt, but he did not. Strangely enough, she's got a knife which is made up of the salt, because her father was a salt merchant, and he prepared a knife and gave this gift to her, and that was pretty sharper knife and it could wound into the body of a human being. So, but she doesn't use that salt of the knife in order to cook her food. She keeps it as a type of weapon for her, and she uses it not only for brandishing but also for fighting, and takes it as a weapon with her. It's a very strange thing that in the time of guns and very much electronic devices used to kill the enemy, here is a woman using her salt weapon in order to kill the enemy. But whatever the case may be, it may be taken symbolically. It may be taken just a kind of thing which a woman possibly can do, and whatever she can do, she's doing in order to rescue her son. So in this way, she is the type of woman in the novel which is very much different from the normal routine of the women in the West, but she's very much like the women of Asia. Now, when we compare her with the first word women, Kate, for example, everything good is associated with Kate. That Kate is not only beautiful physically, but mentally also. And she's capable of using her power in the choice of marriage, and she's capable of living with a man if possible. And if not, she would be ready to quit as well. And she is there to do her job also if she wants, and she's the one who is needed by the people, and she's not the one who would need the people. So educated, skilled, and having all good qualities of the society of the West. That is the women there. And the second woman is the Lady Flowerbody. She is also shown to be very much educated, very much beautiful, and doing a very useful job of collecting data among the people who have been hit by the war. And what is the condition, socio-political condition of the thinking of the people. And she's rather working on the change in the mind of the people who think adversely about US, and possibly they may be entering into war. But this woman definitely goes ahead and tries to see that these things may not happen with the help of the collection of data which she is arranging herself. So if you compare Mother Dear with these two women, we find a lot of difference, a basic difference of empowerment of the woman that is planned in case of the West and that is handed over to the women. But in case of Asia, in case of the colored women, it's not done so. So in this way, lots of differences are possibly present there. And these are the very differences which make the character of the Mother Dear as a post-colonial subject. In that way, the character of the Mother Dear can be laid out. So these are the characteristics of the character of Mother Dear inside that novel, Red Birds by Muhammad Hanif. And that's a very interesting area that if the students want to work on that, want to make an assignment of the character, this video is very useful for them. They should read the text as well. The ideas, after taking the ideas from this video, they can go back to the text, and from there, they must give evidence of the claims which they have learned from this video. Only then their assignments will be of any good work, and the research will be of any good work. Believe me, the text of Red Birds by Muhammad Hanif is a very wonderful text, and linguistically speaking, as well as narratives or the kind of techniques which have been used by him, and the way he has differentiated the women of Asia, colored women, and the women of the West, that is also really very fantasy-like and beautiful one. So this character may be read out in the novel as well. So thank you for watching. It has been a very good experience. Hopefully, if you people like it, do not fail to hit the subscribe button as well as the like button. Some of the comments possibly on Facebook or YouTube, I may be answering them. So till the time we meet in the next video, let us call it a day, and thank you very much for watching.